Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And there you have it. We're back. We're off. We're running. Another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Thursday morning, everyone. 7 o'clock on the dot. And we are underway. 2 hours of fun here on Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 256-576-4977. You can join us throughout the morning. 55 degrees as you make your way into work, into school. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on said Thursday morning. As you get your day started, little recap from last night. Drew, still in the Sunshine State. The Huntsville Panthers taking on Mount Verdi last night. Regular season game for Huntsville, preseason game for Mount Verdi. They're going to get their season started, I believe, out in Vegas this next week, if I'm not mistaken. A little fun, competitive basketball game last night.
Yeah, Scott, it was fun. Montverde is the real deal, man. They're everything they're supposed to be. Cooper Flagg, he had 11 points and 3 highlight dunks. And the one he missed off an alley-oop early, if he had converted it with all the people taking video, it probably would have been on SportsCenter. But he's bouncy. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft in a little less than 2 years, almost assuredly. But they had a very balanced team. Derek Queen led them in scoring with 14. He's actually uncommitted. He's from the Baltimore, Maryland area. Some think he's going to end up being a Terrapin. I know Indiana was heavily in there too, but he had a nice game for them. They ended up that was what made them so hard to defend. Robert Wright, the point guard, headed to Baylor, who the Baylor staff thinks is the best point guard in the country. He was so smooth. He ended up with 12. And then you also had the ace of Newell. We've talked about Newell quite a bit. It came down between Alabama and Georgia for him, and he ended up choosing the Dogs. And certainly I see why Alabama was very interested in him. He had 12 points, played above the rim quite a bit. And so they had that was their double-figure scores. They ended up with 4 in double figures. Again, Derek Queen, Asa Newell, Robert Wright, and then Cooper Flagg. And Flagg only had 11, but he didn't have to do a whole lot because the team is so talented. And then you got a guy in the starting lineup like Liam McNeely, who's going to Indiana, and he only had 6. Didn't take many shots. Really good 3-point shooter, but they kept the starters in for 3 quarters. Really only played 7 guys for those 3 quarters. They were up on Huntsville about 31 after 3, and then played the rest of the bench. But of course, Scott, the rest of the bench is guys that are going to end up places like Samford. So there's not really a whole lot. And then there's a freshman and a sophomore that are very talented that are going to be 5-star players. So it's not like playing an ordinary team at all. But Huntsville competed. Caleb Harrison showed them the entire toolbox. He had a game-high 27, did a heck of a job. Simon Walker had a huge second half, ended up with 13 of his 15. Braden Rivers hit a couple of threes. Eli Stapler had 1 layup, and that was it. Huntsville had 4 guys score, but they competed their butts off, just had some shots that didn't fall in the first half. And then at the end of the half, kind of a few turnovers. And when you turn it over against a team like that, it's just a death blow. But I thought Huntsville really acquitted themselves well because I think you probably saw at Montverde's other exhibition game, they played a local team from local around Florida, around that area, and they beat them by 90. So I think we did a pretty good job at Huntsville and earned some respect last night. And the biggest question for Caleb Harrison after the game was, are you going to decommit from Samford? But thank goodness that's not going to happen because he's already signed. And Bucky McMillan gave me a 1-word text last night, stud. So he's super excited about Caleb, and he should be.
All right, so 256-576-4977. Good night there on the hardwood for Huntsville High on the national stage. Always nice when that can kind of come to fruition. A lot of stuff to get through on the show today. We're going to hear from Nick Saban as they get ready for Chattanooga. I know it's Chattanooga, but Coach kind of did his best to keep everybody straight. Hey, we got to hear from Dan Mullen on Mississippi State. Yeah, he opened up a little bit on Sirius XM about the job. Joel
You have a Darth Vader mask on?
No, he did not. But I'm going to start with this because it is something that pertains to Jack State here within the state of Alabama. Last night, and they did this yesterday late evening, late afternoon, the NCAA did deny James Madison and Jacksonville State's bowl waivers to make them eligible for a bowl this season. James Madison could play in the Sun Belt title game, but they are ineligible, so they will not be able to play in the Sun Belt title game. But, Drew, here is the caveat to all of this, okay? There has to be 82 bowl teams to be eligible to play in a bowl this season, okay? That's how many bowls we have. We need 82 teams. According to Brett McMurphy's math, we're not going to get to 82.
Uh-oh.
That is good news for Jacksonville State and James Madison, because if we don't get to 82 teams, James Madison and Jacksonville State can play in a bowl game.
Well, why not just give them the waiver? Why is that that's so stupid?
Yeah.
It's backwards.
It is completely backwards. Yes. If there's not enough bowl-eligible teams.
If there's not enough, we'll give you a waiver, but if we won't deny it if there is enough. I mean, what the – oh, that's stupid. That's typical NC double-dumb stuff.
Yes. If there's not enough bowl-eligible teams, James Madison and Jacksonville State become eligible to be in a bowl, but the NCAA –
Can they play each other?
I don't know. I don't know if they will or not, but the NCAA denied their waivers. But if there's not enough eligible teams, they become eligible.
Just what you just said. If there's not enough eligible teams, they're eligible.
Yep.
I mean, what?
Yep.
Good Lord.
So
well, I hate to say this, but I hope there's not enough. I hope he's right.
Good news for Rich Rodriguez and Jack State, who's making that transition to Conference USA.
You know what I was going to say, Scott? I was going to say, hell, Huntsville put together a game in 5 days. It wasn't even here, 10 days ago.
Right,
just put together a dang trip to Hawaii in 5 days, and y'all go play.
Yeah, well, they may not need it because they could end up in a bowl game. So I thought that was kind of funny, and I was like, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, and Brett McMurphy last night projected that there will not be enough bowl-eligible teams, so it will allow JMU and JSU to play in a bowl. So,
well, you got to look like the SEC's not having a great year. Like Mississippi State's not going to go to a bowl.
Right.
Arkansas is not going to go to a bowl. So,
there's
South Kakalaki very likely not going to go to a bowl.
And I believe all three of them went to a bowl game last year. Did they not?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They all did.
So, all right, let's go out to the phone lines real fast. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
So, about a month ago, Birmingham Southern says we need $30 million. We're in trouble.
Yes, they are in trouble.
And the state said, paid it for you, and told them they'd figure it out. So they got some money from private places to keep them open a little while so that their sports would be good for the fall. Well, just when you thought that was bad, $30 million, Arizona does the biggest hold by beer I've ever seen financially and says we need $240 million because we made an accounting error. Okay? I don't know if the head of Arizona was appointed by this current administration, but fire everybody. $240 million is missing through an accounting error. There's schools that don't have that much money for their whole operating budget the entire year. And nobody's saying anything about it. It's really quiet. I'm really interested to see what is going to happen. Most of that money is probably endowment money from the federal government. And who's going to prison for this?
Yeah, it is. I saw that over the weekend. They just call it a very troubling accounting error.
I'd call it a democratic moronic move myself.
I just, $30 million for a little small school. I saw that and I thought, okay, they've been running in the red. They don't know what to do. They didn't want to own up to it. They finally did. And then Arizona says $240 million. I just don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, it blows my mind. They're talking about cutting all these programs and cutting all kinds of sports and doing stuff. I mean, they're obviously going to go ask for the money from somewhere or somebody, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
they're going to definitely ask for a bailout of some kind. You got to believe that. Now, it'll be interesting because I know Cal Berkeley is, they at one time they dropped baseball and they added it back, and that I know there's been some schools when the COVID hit, Scott, that dropped some athletics because of the money, especially the of course the non-revenue stuff. That's usually what gets dropped. It's what Wes always jokes about, that stupid trophy or whatever. Where Stanford always wins the all sports trophy because they have water polo and whatever the hell else. They play everything, and but I do feel it is stunning though to make that kind of error. I mean, $230 million. What were y'all doing?
Well, so Arizona president Robert Robbins, and I'm just trying to read a little bit about this real fast. He said that cuts will be required to address the $240 million miscalculation by the university's financial model. Arizona was supposed to have 156 days of cash on hand, but now they only have 97 days of cash on hand. He claimed that the Wildcats athletic department has drained the university's resources, noting a $55 million loan during the peak of COVID-19 has not been paid back fast enough. About $40 million of that money was meant to be repaid over 15 years with interest. Arizona's athletic department reported a loss of $591,000 last year, despite receiving $31.1 million from the university, the second largest subsidy in school history.
Well, I guess my question there is, they talked about how much operating money per day they've got and then how much they should have. Lord, how much is their operating budget per day? That's a number I'd like to know.
Well, the Arizona president stated that Arizona has 23 sports that they sponsor. The average Big 12, they're going to the Big 12 now, remember, actually only has 17 sports. So Arizona has more sports than what the Big 12 offers. So I would probably look for Arizona to get more in line with what the Big 12 sports have to offer.
And Scott, does this not sound like something that was leaked because they're going to have to do that, in other words, and then give them an excuse?
Either that I agree there, or he's just bitter that they're leaving the Pac-12.
Or that too. I mean, but hey, why wouldn't they leave the Pac-12? They thought they were going to play for their friggin' sports with what? Streaming services?
Yeah, well, they're getting more money.
Streaming services. I mean, but they've had the two stupidest commissioners. And that's saying a lot with Kevin Warren, who's now running the Bears.
Yeah, they're getting more money by going to the Big 12. So they're saying that this could help the athletic department financially. But then he points out that we have 23 sports. The Big 12 teams usually only have 17. So I could see them saying, hey, look, we're going to have to cut some sports. And, a lot of those West Coast schools have those different sports than what we have here because of a lot of it being the weather and the location.
Yeah, I mean, and see, we talked about that with all this conference realignment stuff, because the Pac-12 probably of the five major leagues probably had the most sports in of a conference because of the West Coast. And now when you're relocating to other parts of the country, they don't play, some of these athletics. And what are you going to do? Go independent in some of them? No, especially if they're non-revenue, you're probably going to cut them.
Right. Oh no, I'm looking at their list of what they have and all this stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's the Pac-12 and it's the West Coast, and we could spend all day here.
The land of fruits and nuts.
There you go. Hey, Brandon, thanks for the phone call. 7:15. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Dan Mullen weighs in on the Mississippi State head coaching job. Nick Saban talks his team up on getting ready for Chattanooga yesterday. And, we got a lot of stuff to get to. 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looks like a clean slate this morning. Traffic at a heavy level all across the valley, but I'm not seeing any major snags. You be careful on that trip in. Put extra room in there so you got someplace to move to if something does go wrong. You get 2 pieces of the hand-breaded, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff, and North Parkway. Captain Eck in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford's Thanksgiving sales event. This is the time of year to give thanks for all the good things in our lives. And at Woody Anderson Ford, we give thanks that you're driving a Ford. Right now, we've got financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months on 2023 Explorer and Bronco Sport, plus $1,500 in bonus cash. Even our 2023 F-150 Crew Cab has $1,500 bonus cash and financing as low as 3.9%. And our lease rates are great, too. 2023 Bronco Sport, $389 a month. 23 Explorer, $537 a month. And our 23 F-150 Crew Cab, just $449 a month, plus $3,000 in total trade assistance and red carpet lease cash. These are 36-month leases with $36.95 on Bronco Sport, $49.21 on Explorer, and $51.51 on F-150 due at signing. Zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. These offers end November 30th. Call 539-9441 for complete details. It's Woody Anderson Ford's Thanksgiving sales event, and we hope to see you soon.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At Sports Med Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our Sports Med specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. Welcome back into the show on a Thursday morning. I'm here, Drew's in Florida, enjoying the sunshine, the beach, and everything that goes with that. So Dan Mullen yesterday was on Sirius XM college sports radio, or college football, with Peter Burns and Dari Noka. And obviously, Dan Mullen's name has been mentioned a lot when it comes to the Mississippi State head coaching job, which we both believe, if they reached out to him, he would be a pretty good candidate to come back.
We saw Mike Riley do that at Oregon State.
Well, here was Dan Mullen's. Here was, let me see if I got to get this off of there. Here is Dan Mullen's response to coming back to Mississippi State.
It's always a great honor as your name gets mentioned with stuff. And I know the people of Mississippi are so special and hold a special place in my heart. So, that's, as I always say, you never say never when those things go on. And I've had a lot of people, I haven't spoken to anybody administratively with Mississippi State. I've talked to all kinds of the fans and friends and people that we love in Mississippi say, please, are you, or like as you see all over the place. But you never say never going back. But I don't know if this is the time.
What do you think?
Translation: I'm waiting to hear from other folks.
Do you think his name
I think you would listen, but his agent may be trying to get him in the mix for some other jobs, or maybe other jobs come open. Who knows? Dan may be trying to get an OC's job in the NFL, because then he wouldn't have to recruit, and he's terrible at it anyway. But he would be a good fit for State because he knows the place. He's already won. Now, he doesn't know Zach Selman. I don't think he has a relationship with him as far as the athletic director goes. And I will say this, just texting with folks yesterday, it does sound like, at least in the initial phase of the search, that Mississippi State is going to vet people with head coaching experience, guys.
Right.
They're not just going to immediately go the coordinator route. So we'll see.
Do you think feel like they got burned with Zach Arnett, or was that just a spot that we just forget altogether?
They asked Zach Arnett to take the job. And remember, John Cohen had just left. They had not hired Zach Selman. And, Arnett, led them to the bowl win last year. We were talking about being eligible for a bowl. They won their bowl game. It was just a chaotic time with what happened with Coach Leach so unexpectedly. And they were trying to keep their roster together because, as you know, Scott, transfer portal season is about to be underway. And they were afraid their roster was going to be poached. And Arnett had helped recruit a lot of those guys. And so they just felt like they had some momentum going. That Arnett, they might catch lightning in a bottle. It might be like a Gary Patterson situation, but guess who needs a job, Scott?
Gary Patterson.
There you go.
I should say who wants a job.
Well, I would be talking to Gary Patterson if I were Mississippi State or Arkansas. Now, Arkansas's job has not come open. Josh Pate was talking about that yesterday, and I guess there's conflicting information that about whether or not for sure that Sam Pittman will be let go. I do think that Patterson would be a great fit at Arkansas because, as you know, Scott, he spent so long recruiting in the state of Texas, and Arkansas has to recruit Texas well in order to be a good program. And Gary Patterson's a hard-nosed guy. He's a defensive guy. I think he would fit, what the Hogs need. Plus, he understands offense because, hell, he was in the Big 12. You got to be able to score.
No, you do.
And so I think Patterson would probably be the perfect fit for them. But I think he would be a fit at Mississippi State too. But it would just come down to, does Gary Patterson want to try to, navigate the shark-infested waters of the SEC at either Arkansas or State? Because neither job is easy. But I think, geographically for Gary and with his background, I think Arkansas would probably be a better fit. But like we said, they don't have an opening right now.
He did a fantastic job advising Steve Sarkisian in year one at Texas when he put together. It was Gary Patterson who put the defensive game plan together for Texas when Alabama traveled to Texas a year ago. He was the one that put the defensive plan together to slow down Alabama when they got to Austin. So, because he was on the staff, he was not a consultant, but he was on there. He was on the staff there for Sarkisian a little bit.
Right.
At Texas. All right, let's go out to the phone lines real fast. Mark from Spring Hill with us. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. How we doing this morning?
Good.
Good.
Hey, I want to talk about Harbaugh for a minute, Michigan's coach. Did y'all hear the little 5-minute press conference?
I did not, Mark.
Was that where he referred to it as America's team?
Yeah, and he talked
they've already made T-shirts. I did get word of that.
Well, here's my point. I mean, I don't want to rehash it because it was the worst, well, I don't want to talk about Jeff and the Burrow. Let's just go to, it was the the most incoherent I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I've been in school administration for 21 years at every level. I would never hire him as an assistant principal, much less as a head football coach at Michigan. Go back and watch that. He rambles. He talks about, chickens in the yard and how he loves to, hold the little chickens. And, when you think about Mike Leach, Leach was different, but if you listen to him, he made sense after a period of time. You got used to him. This guy's a nut. And so he's been suspended now for 6 games, and so that's half the year. So anyway, I guess the long story short, if y'all go back and listen to that, I think you'll agree with me. But I'm pulling for Ohio State for the first time. I never pulled for them when they play Michigan, but I'm like West Neighbors on this one. I mean, they need to can this guy, and this team needs to be – you talk about NCAA involvement. I really believe this team needs to be banned from postseason play. See what your thoughts are on that.
Are we okay, Drew? Here's my thinking on this. Are we saying ban Michigan from postseason play because Michigan is sitting there in the college football playoffs, or are we saying banning them and they're ahead of teams that we potentially want to see in the playoffs, or are we saying it because of all of the cheating expose stuff that has been coming out?
I'll ask this question: did they ban the Patriots from the Super Bowl?
No.
Then they shouldn't ban Michigan from the playoffs. They should sanction them. This stuff's been going on. Everybody's acting like Michigan's the only one doing this stuff. Everybody's been trying to do it. It's just, what have I said repeatedly on this show, Scott? Harbaugh pissed in the wrong cornflakes. He basically made people angry, and they're trying to expose him. He'll probably end up in the end. He might dig his heels in and stay at Michigan. It wouldn't surprise me, but he could also end up the next coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Going to the NFL and just being –
yeah, I mean, he's going to have those options. I mean, who knows? But, again, while do they deserve to be sanctioned? Does he deserve to be suspended? Yes, but I wouldn't penalize those other players, all the student athletes that he's got and ban them from the playoffs. I think that's stupidity. I'll just be honest. Did they strip the Astros of the World Series?
No.
So they're not going to strip Michigan of anything. Okay? They're just not. And Michigan will either make the playoff again or they're going to play themselves out because Ohio State will beat them. But I'll just say this. Both of them are not going to make it. You understand? Because they don't have the schedule strength. So we'll see if Ryan Day can get his head out of his rectum and finally win a big game. Because he hasn't lately. He hasn't been winning that game, and when he's got to the college football playoff, they choked on sauce and let the Georgia game get away from him. Last year, they did both make it. I don't think when you look at the Big Ten that it's strong enough. And Ohio State did play Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's okay. They're not great. And at least they did play them. Michigan didn't really play anybody.
Right,
but
right.
I just think when it comes to their out of conference, one of the two is going to eliminate themselves. And, I think we both know whoever wins that game. Have your boys clinched the other division yet?
I don't think they have. I think they can get it done this week. I think so. I think they can get it done.
And no disrespect to your Hawkeyes.
No,
but
I know
Michigan
one.
and Ohio State that they're going to crush Iowa.
Yes. Look, I understand that.
Speed bump, man.
Yeah.
And so the winner of the Big Ten is going to go to the playoff. They'll get one team in.
I tell you what time is it? It's 7:30. Let's get a break in. I know we got a full phone lines. We will get to every phone call out of the break. Give us 2 minutes. We will get to your phone calls as soon as we get back. Hold tight.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 70s, dropping into the upper 50s, lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible through Friday afternoon. The day is certainly not going to be a wash. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. Dropping upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight. A beautiful Saturday across the Tennessee Valley. We're talking about plenty of sunshine. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Still looking at a good morning. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems to pass along to you. You enjoy the break while you can because it can change very quickly. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, you know, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs.
I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, welcome back into the show. I mentioned we'd get out to the phone lines, and that is exactly where we go. Let's go to LSU Lou. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, fellas. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good, Lou. How you doing, bud?
I'm okay. All right, so discussion of the day for me. Talking about this Heisman race. And why do they have Marvin Harrison Jr. in the Heisman race for whatever reason when he's not even a top receiver right now in college football?
Well, I think he is a top one, but we talked about this yesterday. I mean, you look at Malik Neighbors' numbers, and they're better. And I'll just say this, based on how he responded from getting knocked out of the Alabama game, what Jaden Daniels did against Florida was otherworldly. And I think he should be near at the top, or at least near the top of the list. And again, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a great player, but I tend to agree with you. I mean, if LSU had a better record, then Malik Neighbors would be getting more shine. But his numbers, I think he's got about 200 more receiving yards than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right. Brian Thomas probably would be ahead of him also if they would have done better in 3 games, maybe just putting it out there. I didn't quite understand that because as the weeks go on, the candidates are kind of sort of still looking the same better than Bo Nix. And, Bo Nix just doing what he does. Can't take anything away from any of them players. Just looking at Marvin Harrison Jr., he's a good receiver, but he's not the best receiver in the league. And it's not even a discussion of whether he's the best in the league right now, unlike last season. So why is he in the mix? I think it has something to do with his last name. I don't know, but I'll let y'all take it away.
Well, I think think about this. Think about this, though, as far as Jaden Daniels and the losses. You mentioned the losses for LSU. I don't think LSU is going to fall out of the top 25.
No.
But the last Heisman Trophy winner to play for a team that ended the season unranked. Remember who this one is? Bo Jackson.
Really?
Yes. Bo Jackson is the last winner in 1985 to play
and he
for
barely
a
been
team.
out your boy, man, by like just a few votes.
At that time, it was the closest Heisman vote for him and Chuck Long ever in the Heisman race. And that's hard to believe because Bo Jackson, I mean, now you think of Bo Jackson, and it's like, oh, wow.
Did Iowa go to the Rose Bowl that year, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And they lost. They got the crap beat out of them. Every time you get excited, they go there and they get the crap beat out of them. The last time they went there, some dude by the name of Christian McCaffrey is still running all over him. But only 5 winners have played on teams that have lost 3 regular season games. Notre Dame's Tim Brown, Texas's Ricky Williams, Florida's Tim Tebow, Baylor's Robert Griffin, and Louisville's Lamar Jackson.
Well, I mean, I still think Jaden Daniels can do this. I will say this. I don't think they can lose another game. And he needs to continue to put up these video game type numbers. And he needs to bury Texas A&M. And, of course, that'll be an interim coach type. And I believe that's in Tiger Stadium. So, to me, LSU just needs to win out.
Yes.
And if we do, he's at least going to be a finalist, like I've been saying. But
yes,
he might be able to win it. Because think about this, Scott.
Well,
if Ohio State loses to Michigan,
right?
I don't care what anybody says. I don't think J.J. McCarthy. You're not going to win the Heisman if you don't throw a pass in the second half. They don't give you Heismans for handing off.
No, but here's the thing, and you're right, though. If Ohio State beats Michigan, and here's the problem, Michael Penix Jr. in Washington could go to the Pac-12 championship game. Bo Nix could play in the Pac-12 championship game. Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't think he should win it. He's not getting my vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3 right now. But he could play in the Big Ten championship game. All 3 of those guys would be playing on a Saturday when Jaden Daniels is not.
That's true. Now, but I'll say this: if Michigan beats Ohio State again for the 3rd straight year, that's going to knock Marvin Harrison Jr. completely out of it.
Right.
Okay. Now, if he had like 200 yards against Michigan and in a game of that caliber, and then had a huge Big Ten championship game, then perhaps he's a finalist. But I'm like you; I don't see him winning it. I think the Penix-Nick showdown could go a long way if one of them has a special game, and that. But I will say Washington has not been that impressive lately from the sense of style points. And if Washington loses, then Penix is out. I don't see him winning it. And then to me, it would come down, because that means Bo Nix beats him. It would come down to Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, and at least for me. And it might depend on how big a pack I don't know how big was the Pac-12 championship game that he had if they beat Washington in the rematch.
Yep.
And then was it a resounding win, or even if it's a last second win? Did he throw for 400 yards? That may be what it comes down to. But I still think Jaden Daniels, even though you're right, he'll be kind of out of sight, out of mind. If he puts on the kind of show that he did the other day, where it's 600 total yards, he's got a great shot to still do it. Because, but I will say, they have no room for error at LSU. They can't lay another turd. But the good thing is his defense is terrible, so he's going to have to put up these numbers. And to me, so I think that they've got to have him produce every game. And while he won't have a conference championship game, you're right about that. It's going to probably depend on A, staying healthy, and B, what kind of dual threat type numbers can you put up? And in this case, his terrible defense may help him, because heck, Scott, this is the way I would equate it with Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman. And again, I don't think Garrett Nussmeier's a bad player, but there still is a big drop off. If Jaden Daniels did not play for LSU, they'd probably have a losing record, or at least be 500. They might not have gone to a dang bowl.
Right.
I mean, Jaden Daniels has been so good. He's probably going to play himself into a top 10 pick in the draft. It wouldn't surprise me.
All right. Do we still have LC holding? Oh, it's okay. Let's go out to Steeler Mike real fast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steeler Mike.
Hey, guys, how are we this morning? Couple things. My 87-year-old father made this comment to me yesterday. This whole sign stealing thing, the NCAA, we know they're fools. All you have to do is green dot them. I mean, give the guys green dots and we eliminate all this stuff, and let's use technology just like the NFL does.
Yes.
In helmets, yeah.
And just put it in their helmets, and we just stop the problem. I mean, we have the technology to do it, obviously. Number two, I want to get your take on this, Scott Andrew. As a Steeler fan, the Steelers are sitting at 6-3 right now, and in 9 games, all 9 games they've played, they've been outgained in yardage, and they're 6-3. I just want to get y'all's take on that. Great show, guys. Good luck in the SEC championship. I think it's going to be a classic.
I mean, Mike Tomlin, it's true. I mean, look.
They've got Matt Canada, for crying out loud. Nobody can stand Matt Canada.
But what kind of coaching job do you have to do to where you get outgained, but yet you are potentially headed to the playoffs, you have yourself in the division race, and yet your offense is atrocious?
Well, I know Kenny Pickett's been a work in progress. I don't think their offensive line's great. All I'll say is that the Steelers continue to prove that they're the greatest organization in history when it comes to hiring head coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever
There's only
they
been 3
do,
in my lifetime.
Right. Whatever they do, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, I mean, my Lord. I mean, they're the best franchise ever as far as vetting head coaches. Because Mike Tomlin, he amazes me at how he's never too high, never too low, never panics, and he knows what can win football games. And again, the Steelers, they may not be great offensively, they're not, but what do they hang their hat on? Defense, running the football for the most part. They've got Najee Harris, and the biggest thing being solid in the kicking game. It's old school football, man. It's what's always won for Pittsburgh, and it's why they're so consistent. I know we didn't get a chance to ask this of Steeler Mike. He's a Tennessee fan. I know he thought the Vols still had a shot to get a rematch with Bama. We know that's not happening after they thunked it against the Missouri Tigers. But we're going to talk to Brooks Austin the second hour. What kind of chance do the Vols have against the Dogs? I don't think they got much of a shot, even in Knoxville.
You don't think so? Not any shot at all? I mean,
no.
You don't see. I mean, is Grady right? Is this a Georgia rundown? I mean, are they just – I don't know.
Well, I mean, Tennessee might stay in the game for a half, man, but just like when Alabama chased them down, I just don't see them being able to sustain it enough to win the game. I don't see Joe Milton winning a big game like that, Scott. I just don't see him making enough plays. I know I do think the Tennessee defense is better this year, especially in the back end. But look, they've got Freakazoid Bowers back. I was right. He came back against Ole Miss. I thought he looked pretty good. Well, it'll be interesting to see how many snaps he can give them this week. They've got a quarterback now, in Carson Beck, who's much more confident because, he's played. And then their defense, they may not have the star power that they've had the last 2 or 3 years, but they're rock solid. So, I like Georgia in all three phases in this game. And I think – and they're experienced. I know Josh Heupel has, I think a spotless home record.
Yeah.
But eventually you're going to lose at home, and I just think Georgia's got all the advantages.
All right, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977. We got to wrap up hour one when we come back. Let's hear from Nick Saban, shall we? Maybe when we come back, plus your phone calls.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Picked up a minor accident on Pulaski Pike. Sounds like it may be pulled out of the way quickly. Everything else looks good this morning. You don't see any other snags. You be careful on that ride in. Put extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if you do have to move out of the way. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling buying real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. As I always say, that song will get you all cranked up, motivated, and going on a Thursday morning. Alabama hoping to get up and get motivated against Chattanooga on Saturday. Here's Coach Saban's message.
So, we're trying to emphasize with the players. They've responded, fairly well, but the number one focus, this week needs to be on this game. We need to take care of business in this game. I got out the 2016 game, which was the last time we played these guys, and the score was like 3-0 or something halfway through the second quarter, and we were behind. So, and just about all the players out there playing were, really good players, most of whom played in the NFL. So, having your mind right, having the right focus on what you want to accomplish and what you want to do, having the right passion for how bad you want to do it, and having the mental toughness to, handle tough and difficult situations, handling hard, I think is really, really important. We need to focus on what we need to do to take care of business in this game.
There you go, Nick Saban. That was from yesterday. Nick Saban, of course, meets the media on Wednesday each and every week, and he did so. And, Drew, there was his motivational challenge, I guess, to his Alabama team.
Well, yeah, and it sounds like, and this doesn't surprise me. I think I've said it on the show this week. I don't expect to see Deontay Lawson in the game. I don't expect to see Jalen Key. They'll hold them out. Probably Ja'Cory Brooks as well. Sounds like Burton is healthy. He was sick last week. He'll get some reps. I think this is a game where you got to get your mind right and have the starters out by early in the third quarter. Have the game put away, get to see more of Ty Simpson and some of these backups, Jalen Hale, backup O-line, Ola, Salinan, and crew that we saw last week. A lot of the younger guys, defensively as well, continue to help them grow. So, again, I just think overall this is a game Alabama should win handily. About like a 56-7 type score. I think Grady picked 52-10, something like that. I'm along the same wavelength. Again, respect for Chattanooga, but Alabama's more talented in every phase. And then the biggest thing is holding guys out, getting them ready for Auburn and then Georgia, and then hopefully not getting anyone hurt in this game because, again, the Auburn road trip is not going to be easy. It's never easy at Jordan-Hare. They're going to be coming in. They're playing we'll ask Jason Caldwell about it here in a few minutes, but they're playing an underrated team in New Mexico State that's 8-3, but I still think it's a game, that Auburn should win handily. And Auburn's playing their best football, too, because they're coming off that 48-10 beat down to Arkansas. So, again, the biggest thing for Alabama is to get in, get out, take care of your business, and get healthy.
All right, 256-576-4977. Coming up here in just a little bit, Jason Caldwell will join the show. The Auburn Tigers, this is a little sneaky of a ball game. New Mexico State comes to town. It's, not FCS, it's FBS. But they've got 8 wins on the year. I mean, Auburn has played very well. They go on the road. They look very good against an Arkansas team that is not playing good, but Auburn handled the business on the road. What do you think of Auburn on Saturday? I mean, obviously it's a very winnable ball game, another chance for them to take another step forward. Does Auburn keep this groove going?
I think so. I mean, when I looked at the schedule, Scott, and I didn't know that Arkansas, the wheels on the bus were just going to completely fall off. But I looked at it. But if you look at the series history since 2015, Auburn has played really well in Fayetteville. I told you when I was looking at our schedule there that you can look at by our great sponsor, Full Moon Barbecue, that I thought that Auburn had a chance to go on a 4-game run and end up 7-4 going into the Alabama game, because at one time they were 3-4. And I just looked at the schedule on the back end, and I was like, this is setting up pretty good for Auburn if they can navigate that road trip to Fayetteville. And they did more than navigate it. They may have cost Sam Pittman his job eventually. We don't know that for sure yet, but Auburn played their best 60 minutes of football. Certainly it's going to be an emotional day on Saturday. Not Senior Day, because Senior Day is going to be against Alabama, unless they decide to do Senior Day for New Mexico State. I have not seen if that's what they're going to. Usually it's the last home game, though. So
yeah, it is. It's set up for Senior Day. Yeah. Alabama won Senior Day.
Yeah, Alabama will have their Senior Day this Saturday. I believe Auburn will have it for the Iron Bowl. So, but again, Auburn's playing for bowl positioning and to finish strong in recruiting. They know they're not going to go to the SEC championship game, but they want to finish this year strong. Hugh Freeze has put his stamp on this offense. It's become a one-quarterback team with Peyton Thorne, and he's run it really well too. And so this Auburn team, it's not the most talented team, but I would call it a very gritty team. And I think they've done a nice job, getting these guys going in a positive direction. And certainly I think they're going to be a dangerous team. It's going to be that's going to be a true trap game. Kentucky, everybody thought was Alabama.
Right.
Booby trapped Kentucky, went over there and burned it to the ground. But it's not going to be easy at Jordan-Hare, and it's going to be a huge challenge. And it'll be if Alabama's a championship team, they'll win the game. But if not, then they're going to go to Atlanta trying to play spoiler. But again, everything's in front of Alabama, but Auburn's playing good football right now.
All right, again, that's coming up here at the top of the hour. Jason Caldwell will join the show. And, hey, I was right. If Iowa wins one of their next 2 football games this weekend and next weekend, they will either play Michigan or Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game as the West representative. So just to get the crap beat out of them, because we just lost our best offensive player, Cooper DeJean.
Oh.
And he doesn't even play offense.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the punt returner, defensive guy, and he's our best offensive weapon. So we're in trouble.
That's going to be interesting because, and hey, another thing I saw this week, Northwestern. That's under the radar for me. I can't believe they're even having a chance to go to a bowl.
And they just promoted their interim coach is now the permanent coach for Northwestern.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, let's get a break in. Jason Caldwell, he'll come with us on the outside of the break.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
Thursday night football, the 5-4 Bengals tangle with the 7-3 Ravens. It's a divisional battle. Baltimore top the AFC North. The Bengals still in the race, but in the basement at the moment. Bengals QB Joe Burrow on facing the Ravens D.
Disguising coverages, disguising pressures. You never quite know what they're in pre-snap. That makes it tough. They're tough physical players, fast. Know what they're trying to do.
Heading in, the Ravens are favored by 3.5 on the money line. Cincinnati plus 158. The over/under 46. NBA action tonight. The Heat by 3.5 at home against Brooklyn. Oak City, a 2.5-point favorite on the road at Golden State. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Coming up Saturday at 3 o'clock inside Jordan-Hare Stadium, the Auburn Tigers will welcome New Mexico State to town. It is that final game before the Iron Bowl in 2 weeks. The Auburn Tigers come in with a 3-game win streak. Mississippi State 27-13, Vanderbilt 31-15, Arkansas 48-10. The offense is clicking, it's humming. It's just one quarterback. It's the Peyton Thorne show, and he is delivering a chance to deliver a 4-game win streak against New Mexico State on Saturday. And, Drew, if you looked at the Auburn schedule at the beginning of the year, you said it to end hour number 1. This is where Auburn could make their hay. You circle it at the beginning of the year saying this is a very, very winnable stretch for Auburn, and they've taken advantage of it.
Yeah, they have, no doubt about it. They certainly are playing their best football right now, and it's a credit to Hugh Freeze and his coaching staff and all the work that they've done. They still have some deficiencies as far as talent goes, but like I said, it's a very gritty team in my opinion. As I've watched them this year, I've never questioned their effort for the most part. I think they've played hard. I know there was some frustration against LSU, but LSU is an extremely talented offensive football team, and I think Auburn has responded in the right way. Certainly they're coming off their best 60 minutes, and we're going to talk about that with our next guest. He's done a great job. He's been a great friend of mine and a big part of this show in my nearly 10 years on the air. He's in his 24th year covering the Auburn Tigers for Auburn 24/7, part of 24/7 Sports, and, of course, inside the Auburn Tigers, and that's Jason Caldwell. Jason, welcome back to the show. Good morning, bud.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good.
We're good, Jason. I mean, I referenced this at the end of the last hour. Auburn, since 2015, has played very well in Fayetteville, and they certainly did more than that on Saturday. Ultimately, it might end up costing Sam Pittman his job because Arkansas had been so competitive in every game. But that game was pretty much over in the first quarter. Talk about what was different for Auburn and how well they played this past Saturday in Donald W. Razorback Stadium.
Yeah, you're right. They have played well there for the most part for the last decade or so. Different coaches, different situations, and for whatever reason, Auburn plays well there. But just Saturday, the drive in 3 or 4 plays for a touchdown, and then the punt return. I think the game was over with in about 3 or 4 minutes, to be quite honest. And really the only sign of life was after an interception. They get it down there, and Auburn holds it to a field goal, and that was pretty much it. From that point on, it was all Auburn. They dominated in every facet of the game. The line of scrimmage was probably the biggest one, and probably the biggest surprise for me. That you think about Arkansas, you think about what they normally are, and they'd kind of gotten back to what you thought was their bread and butter, and running quarterback and doing some of that stuff, and they just didn't have any success doing it. So thought Auburn played the best football game in the last couple of years, in my opinion, and confident. They're feeling much better about things, having some success. All that kind of ties into it.
Now, we know Philip Montgomery is the offensive coordinator, and over the last couple of weeks, Hugh Freeze has made it known that he is taking a bigger hand in the offense, and he said he's wished he did it sooner. What kind of hand has he been doing? Is it more of just the play calling? Is it the game plan going in during the week? But how much has Hugh Freeze taken over this offense?
I think it's been a combination of things. I think the biggest thing is that for a long time they tried to protect the defense, and I think to the detriment of the offense. And hey, it worked against Georgia. It probably was the right thing to do against Texas A&M at the time. You play that way against Georgia, and it gave you a chance to win a game. Now, you didn't execute enough down the stretch, but if you try to play tempo against Georgia and do the things you're doing at that time, it probably doesn't work out very well. But looking back on it, LSU wouldn't really matter because they were playing so well offensively at the time. Ole Miss probably have a much better chance to win that game if you're running the offense and doing some of the things you're doing now. But I think it was because they weren't doing anything. They couldn't find any rhythm on offense. It became a quarterback shuffle, and that wasn't the intention. That wasn't the way this thing was started out to be, and it became that way when they just couldn't find any rhythm on offense. And I think finally decided, look, we got to get back to doing what we should be doing and what we want to do on offense, which is, spread the ball around, throw it. Of course, want to run it, and then get some tempo going. And they flourished that way, and the schedules help some. Obviously, Mississippi State, Vandy, and Arkansas have given you a chance to kind of get your feet on the ground doing those things.
Well, and I just think too, Thorne, his running ability has been a surprise. And I'll freely admit, Jason, I didn't watch him a ton at Michigan State. I did watch him some, and I knew he was a capable passer, but his ability to run the football has also made it easier for Hugh Freeze to go to him as QB1 and just stick with him and allow him to start growing as a passer in this offense.
Yeah, no, the running game and his running ability has been a huge part of things because he makes really good decisions in the run game, and that's been part of it. He is not Jaden Daniels, but he's pretty darn good in doing what he does. And so if you start talking about having a quarterback that every game gives you a 20, 25-yard run and makes a couple of first downs with his legs, and that's a big deal, because the defense has to be careful about that. And obviously Jarquez Hunter's playing at a much higher level. Offensive line group has been the story of the year for me.
Yeah.
And what they've had to do in completely rebuilding that group. And so they found some things that kind of work well together so far.
You mentioned that offensive line, Jason. You look at that offensive line, who's kind of overperformed a little bit in your eyes that's kind of helped bring this offensive line together?
Yeah, I don't know if it's any one guy. I just think it's hard to imagine taking an offensive line group and completely overhauling it in 1 year and having it be better. But that's what they've done. I mean, the only guys on the offensive line that are playing as part of the rotation that were on the roster last year are Cam Stutz and Jeremiah Wright. That's it. Everybody else is brand new. And to do that and to play and go out and do the things they've done, and they've been banged up. I mean, Cam Stutz and Gunnar Britton and Stu Tall have been banged up. You lose your starting center and replace him with a true freshman and get better. Connor Lew doing the things he's doing in the middle. And so can't say enough about Jake Thornton and Kendall Simmons and the job they've done at kind of putting the pieces together of this offensive line. And, they've been able to move the football and run it and do some things. And, I wrote about it a couple weeks ago after the Vandy game. I think Jarquez Hunter's patience has helped this group as well. We mentioned Peyton Thorne's running too, but Jarquez is becoming a more patient runner and allowing things to develop for that offensive line, and I think it's worked hand in hand.
Well, and I got to say this. I'm glad you mentioned Connor Lew. I know he was a big flip from Miami late in the process from the Atlanta, Georgia area, but he looks like he's going to be a stud, Jason.
Yeah, when that happened, we wrote about it and said, look, this is a guy that has all SEC potential. I think that's shown already. I mean, if people pay attention and know what they're doing, he should be a freshman All-SEC, potentially a freshman All-American guy by the time it's done for playing that position and doing what he's done. I think he's going to be exceptional. And, they've gotten better with a true freshman playing center. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of going back to like 2007 when, Ryan Pugh and those guys played as true freshmen on Auburn's offensive line. And, he ended up stepping into that center spot. Reese Dismukes kind of did the same thing. It kind of reminds me a little bit of those guys. And, those were the centerpieces of some pretty good teams when they got older. And I know that's what Auburn's hoping for Connor Lew down the road as well. And, you mentioned kind of the late flip, and the job that they did in December now is starting to show up even more when, you flip Connor Lew, that guy's starting games. Flip Keldrick Falk, he's starting games. You flip K and Lee, that guy starting games. I mean, 3 guys they went and got late are all guys that have started games as true freshmen. And, the impact of that is going to be felt for a long time as well.
You mentioned Jacquez Hunter being more patient, and I think what people need to remember is that when Hugh Freeze comes in, new offensive scheme comes in, Jacquez Hunter has had to learn how to run via the zone read and all this other stuff, that this zone blocking schemes up front. He's had to learn a lot as well, and he's had to be patient, and he's learning how to run in this type of offense.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think part of it was, missing the summer with his teammates and working out on his own and kind of getting back in and missing game 1.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you come out game 2 and you got, I got to make up for everything right now. And then it kind of became the same situation as watching a guy maybe like Camden Brown right now, where you want it so bad that you speed everything up, and that's not the way to play, and you become a little frustrated. I think it was just a matter of, okay, take a deep breath. That bye week was probably really beneficial for this team, even though it didn't show up against Ole Miss at the time, about just, okay, get back to settle in, do those things, and I think it's shown up in a lot of areas.
Well, Jason, talk about the game on Saturday. It's a little bit of a tricky one. Auburn should win this game, but Jerry Kill, we know his history. He beat Alabama at Northern Illinois. He had some health issues at Minnesota, but he's a solid coach, and he's done some great work with the Aggies. Yeah,
I think this is one where this is still an Auburn team that is not talented enough just to roll the football out there and win. You're going to have to go play. And you make a bunch of mistakes, you'll look up in the fourth quarter, and you're going to be in a battle. And so I think for Auburn, just go out and execute and build on what you've done. And I'm sure that's been the message from Hugh Freeze this week. Look, don't take a step back. Now is not the time. And, you're bowl eligible now. A 7th win would be huge in terms of helping, maybe your status in a bowl game moving forward. Obviously, you want to keep the momentum heading into next week. And so there's a lot of things to play for. But, yeah, this is it's an 8-3 team in a group of 5. And so team is going to play for a conference championship. This is not a walkover game, in any stretch of the imagination.
And then talk about recruiting. We just were talking about the flips of Connor Liu and Keldrick Falk last year, but they had a huge weekend and started in the state of Mississippi, and they flipped one of the best edge rushers in the country from the Gators.
Yeah, it was a very busy weekend. I get on the plane to go to Arkansas, flying to Tulsa Friday, and Laquan Robinson commits JUCO safety, originally from Greenville. So that kind of starts it. Kind of had already had an idea that something was going to happen with Jamonte Waller. And right after Auburn's win over Arkansas, he flips from Florida, and it's a massive get. When you start talking about the increasing talent level and look at what Auburn's done on that front 7 defensively, starting with Keldrick Falk last year, but you think about, a guy like Jalen McLeod that stepped up and probably will have another year for this team as an edge rusher. But thinking about the linebacker/edge group and defensive line group that they're bringing in right now, and Monte Waller is a premier pass rusher, not ideal size-wise. He's not the 6'4", 6'5", long limb guy. He's 6'1", 6'2", but extremely quick, athletic off the edge, and it was a huge deal for Auburn to flip him from Florida. Then you get Ryan Yee, tight end from 2025, tight end from Georgia, that continues that momentum. And hey, they still got a lot of irons in the fire to try to finish off this class in 2024. So I think they got a chance to build even more momentum moving forward.
Yeah, especially with the coaching changes at Texas A&M, a guy like Cam Coleman.
Yeah, no. Obviously that's one that Auburn has continued to work. He was on campus a few weeks ago. Actually came to campus on Monday for a little while on his own just to kind of talk to guys, and hang out for a little bit, which is, that's a big deal. And so is it enough to push Auburn over the edge? I think Auburn is right there with him. L.J. McCray is the kid that's committed to Florida. They've lost a few guys. L.J. McCray and Jamonte Waller are pretty close. And another defensive line guy right there that Auburn's in the mix for. Continue to talk to Jeremiah Beeman, who's committed to Alabama. Got a teammate that's committed from there in 2025, Jordan Crawford. Can you make a late push there? I mean, there's still lots of possibilities for this group to turn out even better than it already is.
Good year to have the Iron Bowl on campus.
Yeah, it'll be provided you go out and take care of business on Saturday, it will be a pretty busy and a build-up week towards next Saturday for sure. First things first for them, they got to go out and play well and kind of keep that momentum going and take care of business Saturday. If you do that, then all things point towards what should be a pretty wild atmosphere come next Saturday.
And speaking of basketball, Bruce Pearl, they had a really good duo this week for the early signing period. Pettiford and Ja'Kai Howard. And, of course, Howard continues that Atlanta pipeline. He's extremely athletic, a pogo stick type guy that fits Bruce Pearl's system. And now they're going on the road tonight to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, taking on Notre Dame. A winnable Power 5 matchup for Auburn after they let one get away against Baylor, even though I don't think the Baylor game is going to hurt them at all because Baylor's extremely solid. And Auburn, I thought, played well for the majority of that game, Jason.
Yeah, no, I think it's much like football right now. You go out and if you play the way you did against Baylor, then you'll win tonight. I mean, obviously it's going to be almost like a road game playing Notre Dame in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. There'll be some Auburn folks there, but that's a place that Notre Dame has plenty of people around. Kind of first year rebuild for them on basketball, but it'll be you're right, Power 5, and then you win that one, and either Oklahoma State or St. Bonaventure would be another tough challenge, and have Indiana coming up, and they strengthened the schedule. Same thing Alabama's done. I think it's going to help both programs as they progress into the SEC and down the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jason, we appreciate it, man. Great stuff. Let everybody know how to follow your coverage of New Mexico State this weekend, and of course Auburn basketball tonight.
Yeah, you can check us out at auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. You can also follow me on Twitter at ITATJ.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jason Caldwell, kind enough to join us this morning. Let's get a break in. When we come back, Drew, it looks like Washington State and Oregon State have a home. Looks like it. I'll explain next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
One accident reported eastbound 565. It's going to be between Madison Boulevard and Research Park, right about mile marker 14. Had a report of an overturned vehicle. That one did report with injury. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. I don't see any other snags. You be careful on your trip in. Snelling needs an experienced shipping and receiving clerk. It's a Huntsville-based company. 4-day work week. And needs solid computer skills. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-251-2305. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-251-2305 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-251-2305 to see if you qualify. That's 800-251-2305.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And yes, they are the Pac-2, Washington State and Oregon State. But, Drew, it does look like they have a home. And our good friend Ross Dellinger, who we have not had on in a little bit, and he's been a very busy man now for Yahoo Sports, has said that Oregon State and Washington State have re-engaged talks, but it looks like it's going to become official with the Mountain West for a 2-year football scheduling alliance. Now, Oregon State and Washington State would not be eligible for the Mountain West Conference Championship. What it's going to be is it's going to be what they call a 7+1 model, where the schools would play, the Mountain West schools would play a conference schedule of 7 games, not 8, but then they would rotate a game with either Washington State or Oregon State in the mix. Now, Washington State and Oregon State would be eligible for the college football playoffs as in a large bid only, because they would technically be independents.
Yeah, and it looks like, though, that according to Ross, there'd be a chance for a long-term merger here. So it looks like, that's where they're going to end up landing. And it'll be interesting to see with this ever-changing landscape how it affects those two teams. But here's the thing where it's not a death blow because of the expanded playoffs starting next year. And so in a lot of ways, they'll end up being group of 5 programs now instead of Power 5. But again, if you look at Washington State's history and even Oregon State in football for much of it, they really haven't been factors in their conference races. So in hindsight, this might not be a bad thing for them, Scott. The only thing it hurts them, though, is baseball-wise. Like Oregon State has been a power. Pat Casey won multiple national championships. And so that would hurt them a little bit there. Washington State, I don't think it hurts them that much. Certainly the money is what everybody's talking about. Now, that'll be interesting to see what kind of money they can make to sustain their athletic programs. And hopefully they won't make a financial error like the University of Arizona.
Boy, we've talked a lot of Pac-12 stuff today, haven't we?
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right. So, hey, Matt Wyatt. Take a listen to Matt Wyatt's words on Mississippi State. Very, very interesting stuff here. He kind of spoke the truth about Mississippi State. I want you to hear this.
But hear this. I believe firmly, in fact, I know, and I could prove it, and I could point to it, and I can illustrate it until I and y'all are blue in the face. But when Coach Leach passed away, an unprecedented situation at SEC school, Coach Arnett was elevated to head coach because he won the bowl game and for the purpose of continuity in that situation. And the decision, here I go, the decision to blow up the offensive staff that Mike Leach put together and to send them all packing, with Will Rogers coming back, who played in the air raid in high school and 3 years in college and set records, and 5 senior offensive linemen who played in the air raid for 3 years and won 9 games in it, even though it wasn't always pretty, and a whole bunch of receivers that signed to do what? To catch passes in the air raid. With all of that coming back, the decision to blow up the staff that Mike Leach put together and to send them all on their merry way and to completely not morph, not transition, no, 180-degree overhaul of the offense is what has primarily led to this. Because my analysis is, after watching that game on Saturday night, it's one of the worst college offenses I've ever been forced to watch. And you can't do all of that without really a way to justify it and then get to this point and not catch criticism. I've said it for months after months after months. If it doesn't go well, you are open to criticism.
There you go. Mike?
I totally agree with Matt. I mean, excuse me, Scott.
Matt Wyatt, yep.
We've had him on many times. I was sort of mystified by that because I knew they wanted Zach Arnett to come in for the continuity of the program. I would have thought he would have, we even said that in Nashville. Because I didn't think Will Rogers was getting a lot of respect for coming back and all the production that he'd had, but they should have kept the offense the way it was. I think because all those guys have been recruited by Leach, at least for one more year, you should have stuck with the air raid. And maybe even going forward, because Zach Arnett had coached, and been comfortable with his defense going up against that offense for 3 years. I thought they had a lot of momentum going in because they won the Egg Bowl, and I think he was starting to get his systems in place. I thought it was a mistake that Zach Arnett blew all that up. And to me, no disrespect, I think Zach's a really good a really good defensive coordinator, but it proved he wasn't a head coach because I just thought those weren't smart moves at all. When you had all those seniors coming back and you end up trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Coming up here in just a little, I thought we'd find that interesting. Matt Wyatt always speaks the truth. Hey, coming up here in just a little bit, Brooks Austin is going to join us. Georgia travels to Knoxville on Saturday. And yesterday was the anniversary of one of the greatest Georgia-Tennessee games I think we've seen. Georgia and Tennessee. Remember that one? It came down to the wire. Tennessee.
You're talking about the champion of life and the Hail Mary.
Yep, 34-31 victory over Georgia. That was 7 years ago. But you ready for this little nugget?
Yeah.
The Vols have not won the turnover battle since 2009.
Wow.
That was the year Lane Kiffin won 45-19 in Neyland Stadium.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I just don't give Tennessee a lot of chance in this game, man, because Georgia can smell the end. They know what's at stake. They got a chance to three-peat. They already know they're locked into the SEC championship game, but I think they also know they don't have margin for error because of their schedule strength. And, again, Tennessee, I just don't see them playing that well right now. They shocked me how poorly they played against Missouri. And of course they're going to try to lock in against Georgia, but I just think Georgia's too talented.
All right, well, what does Brooks Austin think? We'll get his thoughts coming up next. Brooks Austin will help us break down Georgia, Tennessee. Is it another Bulldog romp?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the lower 70s, dropping into the upper 50s, lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible through Friday afternoon. The day is certainly not going to be a wash. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Some of us could see the lower 70s. Dropping upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight. A beautiful Saturday across the Tennessee Valley. We're talking about plenty of sunshine. Temperatures hanging out in the low and mid 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had that one wreck reported eastbound on 565 right about mile marker 14. That's just before Research Park. That one reported an overturned vehicle. Initial report there was injury. Everything else has run smooth throughout the morning. I don't see any other problems. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. We got a lot of folks running last minute this morning. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Don't let your back or neck pain get in the way. Get back to doing the things you love with the spine and neuro team from Huntsville Hospital. As the most experienced in the area, we have been improving lives in North Alabama for more than 50 years. Whether your favorite fishing hole is on Wilson Lake in the Shoals, Flint Creek, or Lake Gunnersville, Spine and Neuro is nearby to get you back to your best. Visit us online at spineandneuro.com to learn more.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. On Saturday, Bulldogs will take aim at SEC regular season history, as that is to go 8-0 in 3 consecutive SEC seasons, something no other program has done since the league went to an 8-game schedule back in 1992, Drew.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The Georgia Bulldogs right now, best program in the country. They've won 27 games in a row. They dispatched Ole Miss with ease, and I thought they would. I don't think they're going to have much trouble with Tennessee, in my opinion. I know this has been a game people circled. before the season started. But the Vols are not what I thought they were going to be, or even I thought they would be a good football team. I didn't expect them to be a great football team, so it's probably a little bit what I expected. Georgia's kept that train rolling, and who better than to catch up with than the lead editor of Dogs Daily, part of Fan Nation and Sports Illustrated, and that is Brooks Austin. He's been kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Brooks, what's up, brother?
Can't complain, bro. Boys, how y'all doing this morning?
We are good.
No doubt, man. And I guess, hey, I saw Tua Tagovailoa do it, but now I've seen Brock Bowers, freakazoid status, bro. I mean, I was, the evening show with Steve Moulton and West Neighbors. They didn't believe me when I said Brock would be back for Ole Miss. I had a feeling he would be. It was going to be his last game in Sanford Stadium, man. And he looked pretty good to me, brother.
Dude, I broke the article about 2 hours before the game that he was going to be playing. Everybody that I was talking to on the sidelines was like, I can't believe it, but dude's about to dress up, and he's not about to just play. He's going to play. Like, he's going to come out here and really do it. And even when I reported that article, like an hour, 2 hours before game time, people were like, nah, that's not true. Ain't no way. Nah, dude's not going to come back. Even if he does, he's going to be out here dressing out. Nah, man, Brock Bowers basically practiced as a full participant all week last week. They took his non-contact jersey off on Thursday, according to sources, and he wanted it off on Tuesday, but they didn't trust the other people around him not to hit him because they didn't want him to hit until Saturday. So he mentioned after the game how it was just uncomfortable. There's some uncomfortability in that injury afterwards. It's just about whether or not you can deal with that. Now, when I hear uncomfortable come out of his mouth, I know that he's talking about pain and overcoming what pain feels like. And I don't know about you guys, but pain in the ankle don't really feel necessarily good. So, yeah, man, this guy's not only an incredible athlete, he's incredibly tough as well.
Well, for Georgia to get him and Ladd McConkey back on the field at the same time, I mean, if you're Kirby Smart and the offense, I mean, that's got to be a happy sight.
That's the first time, really, that they've been – I mean, they're 11 weeks into the season, going into their 12th game or 11th game or whatever it is. I can't remember at this point. But we're deep into this thing, and this is the most healthy this Georgia football team has been. You know, early in the year, the running back room was banged up. Both Kendall Milton and Dejon Edwards missed a few games to start the season. And then, you know, Ladd McConkey struggles to get back healthy from a back strain all the way until about week 5. I mean, he doesn't really play until after the Vanderbilt game. And then during the Vanderbilt game, obviously Brock Bowers goes down. So I think this football team has done a tremendous job of really balancing injuries. Amarius Mims goes down at some point this year as well. So you've had several contributing starters miss football games, and they really haven't missed beats offensively. They've come out and performed. And now, you know, going into what is the final stretch of this football season, like I said, they're as healthy as they've been, I would say, at all this calendar year. I mean, they were a banged-up football team in the spring. They're as healthy as they possibly could be at this point in the season.
And Brooks, what impressed you the most about the dismantling of Ole Miss? Ole Miss had some initial success, but I thought Georgia adjusted. They started shutting them down offensively. And, of course, you got to stop the run first and foremost against the Rebels. And then, of course, I thought, you know, offensively it may have been their best performance of the year, the way they shredded the Rebel D.
Yeah, it was funny. I talked to a couple of Ole Miss coaches after that football game, and, you know, they knew the defense was going to be a challenge. They knew that they were going to have to, you know, play pretty much a perfect game just to score enough to win. They didn't think that offense was that good. I mean, they came off that field going, my God, how is anybody going to stop them? Just the offensive line, just being able to lean on people the last several weeks has kind of, you know, led us to believe that they are who we thought they were. You know, the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, I think a lot of people questioned the output and the performance of this offensive line. But since I would say after that Auburn game, they've been extremely dominant up front, and they've played a lot of football players. So I think that's been the key. They as an offensive line unit, they've really been able to handle pretty much everything that's been thrown at them this year. And they're extremely veteran, man. They got a lot of guys that put a lot of football on that front five, and then you got a quarterback who's deciphering information exceptionally well. Offensively, man, they've been electric all year. The only time they've really been, you know, cored or, you know, contained, if you will, I would say is South Carolina and Missouri at portions of that football game. And those were football teams that were willing to play man coverage and willing to, you know, blitz the quarterback and get after it. And that's kind of a risky way to play football. But those two teams have been willing to do it. I'm curious to see, what they'll ultimately do this weekend.
So you look at this offense under Stetson Bennett, and you look at it where it is now. Has there been much of a change in philosophy? I mean, because I know we have a new offensive coordinator this year too as well. But has there been much of a change in what you've seen from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think the only noticeable change is they're a little bit less under center. They don't do as much heavy boot action, not as much rolling of the pocket, things like that. Things that you would do if your quarterback were 5'11 and a half, 6 foot, and really athletic. You would want to move that guy. You'd want to get him in and out of the pocket. You'd want to manipulate the launch point. You want to do all these things with his legs. Well, when you have a processor and you have somebody that can sit back there and kind of, see the defense, read the defense, make clean and accurate decisions and throws, you don't necessarily have to do all of that stuff because it doesn't necessarily, behoove Carson. Whereas, with Stetson's legs, man, that was oftentimes one of his best attributes and a way to, find answers when the answers weren't always there. But no, I think this offense has continued to progress into a passing offense for the first time in Kirby Smart's time at the University of Georgia. They are throwing the football more times per game than they are running it, and it took him 8 years to do so. I asked him about it this week, and he was like, well, I had Nick Chubb and Sony Michel when I got here, so of course we ran the football. Those are what I think are first-round draft picks. And what he kind of glossed over during that answer was, bro, there's 6 years of offense between when Nick Chubb and Sony Michel left your program and what you're doing now. You ran the ball 42 times per game when they were here. You throw it 34 times per game now.
Yeah.
You're a different football program. Like, this is an offensive-led football team that throws the ball. Like, that's not Georgia football. That's not Kirby Smart. Like, that's a new evolution of what they do in Athens nowadays.
Well, Brooks, we're talking to Brooks Austin, Dogs Daily lead editor. You're the film guy. I love the way you break it down. I know you've been breaking down the balls. They fell flat last week on the road. They've been really good at home, but I still I don't like Joe Milton's chances against this Georgia defense. I know the Vol defense though has been improved. I still don't like the matchup with the way Georgia's healthy now on offense and firing on all cylinders. If you just broke it down, how do you see this matchup with Georgia being a 10-point favorite?
Man, they're old as hell on that defensive side of the football. I feel like I say that every week with every opponent that I study. They got 10 graduate seniors on the defensive side of the football. So every single starter minus one on the defensive side of the football for Tennessee has been playing college football for at least 4 years. That's a lot of experience. That's a lot of older football players. That's a lot of people that are really, really comfortable in the system in which they are playing. And they play that way, man. They play aggressive. They play with a lot of disguised defenses, man. So they might show up and look like they're playing one thing, and then post-snap, they're doing something totally different. And those are the only types of things that are available to you, okay? If you are old and you are experienced, if I can lean on you to be able to do multiple things at once and be able to disguise those things all at the same time. But I do think you're right in the sense, Drew, where I don't know how – I don't think Tennessee's good enough at corner and safety to be able to cover Georgia man-to-man. And I know for a fact that Mike Bobo and this offensive system destroys cover three football teams. And that's all I've seen Tennessee play this year. I've seen them play cover three, single high safety, and I've seen them play man coverage. I don't know if you could do either of those things Saturday against Georgia without getting immense amount of pressure in order to do so, because pressure is going to solve everything, right?
Yeah.
But this football team doesn't allow pressure. They don't allow people to touch their quarterback or hit their quarterback very often. So it's a tough matchup for Tennessee, as it will be for any defense facing this offense this year.
One of those stats that everybody looks at is those third down stats. Offensively, Georgia really good at staying on the field at third down. Defensively, boy, they have been every bit as impressive as getting off the field on third down.
Yeah, it's funny. In July, actually, June or July, I told our audience that I thought Georgia was going to lead the country in third down conversion rate. And what a blasphemous thing to say. They were bringing back a brand new starting quarterback. They had to replace two offensive tackles. a tight end, and Darnell Washington becomes a first-round draft pick. I thought Kenny McIntosh had an insane year last year. Like, all of these elite, Adonai Mitchell leads into the transfer portal. You have all of these reasons to think Georgia's going to take some type of offensive step back. And I'm sitting there in July going, nah, they're going to be so damn good on third down. And the reason was because they have a processor. Like, when you have a quarterback that plays on script at all times and takes what the defense gives them, doesn't hold the ball too long, doesn't make negative plays, man, you're always going to be in 3rd and 3. And I don't know how many football teams can stop Georgia in a 3rd and 3 situation. Every football team struggles to convert third downs when they're in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Duh, that's the history of football. But when you are successful on 1st and 2nd down, you're going to be really good on 3rd down, and that's exactly what Georgia's been this year on both sides of the football. Look, defensively, when they've allowed 3rd down conversions, it's because they've been piss poor on 1st and 2nd down. That's math, and that's football for you. This football team is one of the best in the country on 1st and 2nd down. That's why they're one of the best in the country on 3rd down.
Well, as Carson Beck got enough respect, I mean, he's already thrown for over 3,000 yards. I know Jaden Daniels is getting all the headlines because of the Heisman, and Beck is, filling the shoes of a 2-time national champion and Stetson Bennett now in the NFL. But it almost seems like he's been flying under the radar, even though Georgia's been rolling.
I think he's too boring. I think he's too boring of a watch to think that he's going to get all these accolades and all of this hype, if you will. He doesn't play with a lot of emotion. He doesn't hold the ball too long to make wild plays. He just takes what the defense gives him. And if you're a football mind, if you like studying efficiency, if you like, making the correct reads, he'll fascinate you. Like, you'll be extremely happy watching Carson Beck play on Saturday, particularly if you've got, any type of investment in the outcome of the performance of the offense. But if you're looking for flash plays, if you're looking for, oh, man, look at him scramble out of the pocket and throw a 65-yard bomb, like, that's just not who this dude is. That's not who this guy's ever going to be. And it's going to be a lot of chicken and rice. Like, it's going to be a lot of chicken and vegetables, just eating what you're supposed to eat and remaining healthy. And then all of a sudden, boom, we score a touchdown. Like, yeah, we have the last 5 possessions because the quarterback keeps taking what's available.
Brooks, do they talk at all about the 27-game win streak, the 26-game SEC game win streak, the 37 regular season game win streak? Do they talk at all about that?
They swear up and down they don't. But, you have to imagine that these are 18 to 22-year-old individuals. But, man, every single time I talk to a Georgia football player in media availability, or every single time this topic's getting brought up in those rooms, everything's, well, that's just the standard. The standard here is to win. The standard here is to dominate. And, I've been in locker rooms for 3.5, 4 years. I find it really, really hard to believe that those messages don't get really tired and old. But for some reason, they found a way to make this robotic message seem fresh and new every single time. So I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for people to be like, nah, I mean, we've obviously been paying attention to it. The standard's getting kind of old. I know. It hasn't happened, to be honest with you. They are very, very robotic in nature inside that building, at least forefront to the media. I don't know what they're talking about behind closed doors. I would imagine they're just being normal human beings outside of football practice, though, because the football schedule at Georgia is pretty insane.
Well, I think Dolly Parton's going to go home unhappy. What are you thinking on Saturday, man? I think Georgia's going to cover and win this resoundingly.
Yeah, I don't imagine they score 40 or 50 like they have the last couple of weeks, because the way to really bludgeon Tennessee, the way to really dominate and control this football game and win it in the fashion that they want to win it in, I imagine Georgia's going to have a couple of death marches on Saturday. And what do I mean by that? Well, Tennessee's offense plays with really, really fast pace. Okay, so the moment, and I don't care if it's in the first quarter, the second quarter, or the fourth quarter up 14 points, the moment that Tennessee stacks consecutive 3-and-outs offensively, Georgia's going to put together a 7-minute, I'm going to walk it down the field football drive, because that's how you kill these fast-paced offenses. You make their defense play 2 consecutive possessions, and you take an entire quarter up because their offense wants to spit it out and punt the ball in 14 seconds of game clock.
Great stuff from Brooks Austin. I'll just tell your listeners, man, as we're closing this out, you're one of my favorite guys, and I'm over here in Florida. I got a chance to see the Dogs' future stud for Mike White, Asa Newell. They're going to be happy, man. That kid is a baller. Saw him play against my alma mater last night, Brooks. They got some bright days coming up for the Dogs basketball program too, and of course the football program's rolling. Let everybody know how to follow you, bro.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what, shouts out to Mike White for 2 weeks in a row having a name drop and a topic drop on the basketball team in the middle of football season. So shouts out to Mike White on that. Hey, straight up, last week, Drew, I was like, hey, you got the wrong guy. I don't know nothing about hoops. No, man, Mike White's doing a great job. And you can follow me on Twitter and social media at Brooks Austin BA. And like Drew said, we do a bunch of YouTube work. Just search the Film Guy Network over there on YouTube. I appreciate you, boys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brooks. Let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headline's going to wrap us all up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's got a wreck at Governors and Gallatin. That one's a no injury. Got an overturned vehicle reported on Garth Road to south of Randolph. I don't have an injury report from that one yet. And we had an overturned vehicle eastbound 565 near Research Park. That one reported as an injury, but I didn't hear Himsey transport anyone. You get 2 pieces of hand-breaded, juicy, tender signature chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes, University and Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at ChapmanCommercialRealty.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And your tomorrow's headlines today. And Drew, I know you saw this on X or Twitter or whatever, but the state of Alabama High School Athletic Association loses a big-time coach.
Yeah, Reginald McGarry passes away. Man, he's a guy I saw win state championships. He did a great job at both West End and Parker. He was a very unique personality, Scott. He brought his team to the Classic in the past, especially at West End. But he was just he was a guy that played a certain style. It sometimes wasn't aesthetically pleasing. He was a very defensive-oriented guy. his kids played really, really hard. And you knew if you were going up against Reginald McGarry at either West End or Parker, you're going to have to pack a lunch, man, because those kids were going to be physical, tough, and they were going to play hard. He was a guy that was just so gregarious and brought a lot of positive energy to the sport. And prayers out to his family on the passing of Reginald McGarry.
And you bring up the Classic, the 41st Annual Huntsville City Classic. The bracket is out. Columbia and Sparkman will headline the very first game of the 41st Annual Classic. That'll be at 9 a.m. on the 27th. Huntsville, Hazel Green, Bob Jones. Then you got Trotwood. Let's see, get this right.
Ohio,
Yep.
first school from the up north to come to our Classic. Get excited about that.
Then you get May Jemison, versus James Clemens. Grissom will take on Madison Academy. Florence will meet up with St. Pius out of Georgia. Austin will take on McAdory, and then Buckhorn gets Centennial out of Tennessee. Centennial's been here before, right?
I don't think they have.
Okay.
I think this will be their first trip to the tournament. But again, we're glad to have some diversity, some teams coming from out of state as well. Should be a great 41st annual field, and you get a lot of star power. Huntsville coming off of a great trip here to play Montverde, so they've made a name for themselves. We know what Buckhorn's done. They're the defending 6A state champions. They're very, very good, and they're ranked in the top 40 in the country. Huntsville has actually made their debut, Scott, ranked 80th in the Max Preps poll, so that's thrilling as well. Should be a great tournament, and also a lot of those same schools are going to be in the N2 Hoops tournament over at Bob Jones for Thanksgiving next week, so some great basketball coming to our area.
All right, well, get on your plane. Hop back here, your jet, so you can get back here for tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. We're going to be on the Fantasy Island plane again. Probably it was pink with the double engines there. Probably might be a little turbulent, but certainly we're going to have a 2-hour plane flight back. We look forward to hopefully being on with Stephen West tonight over at Baumhauer's, hit the ground running. But again, we appreciate all the listeners and appreciate Chad and Bandy and everybody hooking up this Zoom. It's worked really well, and it's been great to be on this trip and yet still be with our listeners on Talking Ball. But look forward to being back in the saddle tomorrow.
All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, Talking Ball. Wrap it all up tomorrow.
There's nothing like the freedom you feel when you're on the water in your own boat from Freedom Marine in Guntersville. And when it's time to get your boat ready for cold weather, Freedom Marine is your best choice to winterize your boat so it's ready to go next spring. If you've been thinking about a new boat, Freedom Marine has a great selection on sale now with some of the biggest discounts they've had in a decade. For new and used boats, outboard sales, financing, service and parts, it's Freedom Marine. Highway 431 in Guntersville and online at freedommarincenter.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Commercial